And welcome back to Inside West Virginia Politics. As you probably know by now, I am retiring in a couple of weeks. I'm hanging it up. I'm not really retiring, but I'm stepping away from my full-time gig here at Nexstar Media Group, and I'm retiring. So we're going to talk about retirement. Tabitha Justice is here from justusretirement.com. Great to have you on the program.
Thank you so much for having me back.
You've been so helpful to me. I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, your number one rule is be proactive. And as I got closer to my 65th birthday, I was more like, and you know, I need to sign up for Social Security. You got me signed up for Medicare. What's your advice to people?
So number one is to be proactive. There's so much that's involved in retirement, so many different government entities involved, and it could be really stressful if you try to do it all last minute.
And it was stressful for me because I feared it. I didn't know what I was
Right.
getting into, and that's part of the fear is the unknown. I tell you what's happened in the course of the last year.
Okay.
I get a lot of unsolicited phone calls. Say, you know, people can do data mining and find out how old you are, and they knew I was turning 65. I got a lot of unsolicited phone calls from people wanting to sell me services for Medicare and Social Security. What's your advice on that?
All right, so number one advice, do not call 1-800 numbers. The only purpose of those 1-800 numbers is to sell you. It is not to educate you, it is not to teach you, it's to sell you. Number two, don't accept those unsolicited calls. There are extremely strict rules about who's allowed to call you about Medicare and how. And in my opinion, if they're willing to break the rules to contact you, they're going to continue breaking rules.
And some of them are very high pressure. It's not like, like one I told, I said, well, just give me your number and I'll get back to you. They're like, no, you got to do this. And the amount of personal information they know about you, A, is scary, but sometimes they solicit personal information. They ask for your Social Security number, you know, bank account numbers. I mean, what's your advice on that?
Never give your personal information out, either online or over the phone, unless you know them and unless you've done your research. There are so many ways today, just like they researched you and they got information on you, you can research them. You can look for Google reviews. You can talk to people who have used them for clients. You can look at their Facebook page and see, is this even someone that I trust and would want to talk to as a neighbor, much less give all my personal information to.
Yeah, I've learned a lot along the way, and the one thing I learned that surprised me is that Medicare does not cover everything.
No, there are, and see, I think that's one of the things that's really important about being proactive with it too, is people have this assumption that Medicare is going to cover everything once you're 65, and a lot of people don't find out that Medicare doesn't cover things like dental, vision, long-term care services until they get to the point that they need it. And then a lot of times it's too late to prepare for it.
And I'm not telling our viewers anything new. I've had a lot of severe illness the last 4 years, and I'm on 20 plus prescription drugs. And the one thing people should know right up front is the basic Medicare does not cover prescription drugs. You got to do something extra on that.
Yes, 100%. So if you have Medicare just by itself, you're still responsible for hospital copays. You're responsible for 20% of what Medicare doesn't pay for doctor services, and then you're responsible for all prescription drug coverages.
To the young people out there watching now, not nearing retirement, let me give them some advice. I did not start investing in a 401k plan through my employer until I was almost 35 years old. And my advice to people, and I tell my kids this because they're in their 30s now, start now. Start putting away 15% or whatever the maximum is now, especially if your employer matches, because it snowballs. It gets bigger and bigger. And even though I only started at age 35, my 401k is substantial.
Yeah, I think just like with Medicare, retirement planning is individual too, and a lot of people aren't proactive with that either. They wait until it gets so close to retirement that they can't catch up. And there's so many different ways that people can invest today and prepare, and a lot of people, they just don't. They wait till last minute.
Yeah, and it's not just 401ks. There's the Roth IRAs and other investment vehicles people should use, because anyone who thinks that they're going to get by just on the Social Security check alone is sadly mistaken. You've got to have some of your own money, your own skin in the game. Anyway, we want to thank Tabitha Justice for joining us. JustusRetirement.com, JustusRetirement.com. You've been a godsend to me.
Oh,
You've been so
you.
helpful to me. Then I'm getting ready 2 weeks. I'll be on the beach, okay?
Yes, I'm so excited for you.
All right, thanks, Tabitha.